This episode is sponsored by The Alcohol Experiment, a free 30-day challenge designed to interrupt your patterns, give you control, restore your health, and put you back in touch with the version of you who doesn't need alcohol to cope, relax, or enjoy life. More than 220,000 people have already tried The Alcohol Experiment for themselves and have seen improved sleep, increased happiness, reduced anxiety, and so much more. Join thousands in this inspiring, hopeful, and exciting program where you examine your beliefs and reconnect with the best version of you without ever feeling like you're missing out. Start today for free at alcoholexperiment.com. Hi, this is Annie Grace, and welcome to This Naked Mind podcast. And I'm here with Suzanne. Hi, Suzanne. How are you?
Hi, great. So excited to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, so excited to have you. So why don't you sort of take us back to the beginning in your story? Where did your journey with alcohol start?
All right. So I grew up in a Christian home and I had a mixed interpretation of alcohol. Remembering, may I say, my first gulp of alcohol was on a blistering hot summer day here in Arizona. And I took a big gulp of what I thought was ice water, and it was alcohol. So I felt the searing pain, rinsed it out really quick in the sink with water, and didn't like my first taste of alcohol. And then fast forward to the age of 15, just trying to fit in with the cool kids. And I had a girlfriend that we were inseparable, and I would hang out at her house, and her mother had so many DUIs that we would pick her up in the middle of the night before we even had a license and just had free access to any and all alcohol. We used to mix it with Kool-Aid, plenty of sugar. I still didn't like the taste of alcohol. And then again at 15, I was at a house party, and the cops showed up and right at the party, I was thrown in the back of the police car and kind of paraded around where all of the kids were hanging out at like a Circle K, used as definitely to set an example. And I wasn't arrested. I did volunteer in community service, and I actually hadn't even been drinking that night, but the silver lining, I believe, in that instance was just having the love of volunteering and giving back to community. I mean, that was definitely the lesson that I learned out of that. And then for me, having an eating disorder and mixing food deprivation with alcohol, going to, getting into parents' liquor cabinets and everything at 15 and 16 just was not a good look. I forever was getting sick. And today is not a day to talk about adverse childhood experiences from your youth of trauma or sexual abuse, though I will say that my outward behavior was a sign of an internal storm or chaos that was going on. And though at 16, getting through the teens here at 16, I had a boyfriend. He was already in college. He was much older than me. And I would sneak out and go to the college parties and live that lifestyle, go to the fraternity parties and everything. And just, made a painful decision at 16 and ended up moving high schools kind of for him. And at 17, I became pregnant, and 2 weeks after I turned 18, I had my first child, and she was a preemie, a little one, and just really a little miracle. And I believe that she rescued me in a sense that, at that stage of the game, he had signed abandonment papers and walked out of our lives. And I knew I was going to be the mom and the dad and the responsible one. So I just threw myself into being a young mom and working and going to night school. And I was married again at 20, or for the first time at 20, and we had 2 more children. And really through my 20s, I did not drink too much. I was just, working, and I was able to finish, like I said, my college degree, and just focused on being a wife and a mom. And fast forward to 30 now, I guess I would say in my 20s, my really go-to healing was literally a pair of running shoes. My running shoes were just my sanity saviors at that time. I was forever training for marathons, and that was my go-to. At 30, I received one of those 3 a.m. wake-up calls that my parents had been in a rollover car accident. My father had become a quadriplegic and lived 2 very trying years. And after his passing, I was so out of touch with my feelings and emotions that I didn't even cry at his funeral. I was just going to not be a stoic, but just take care of myself, take care of my family. And at that stage of the game, I made all of the life decisions that you're not supposed to make after receiving difficult news or going through a loss. And my father was a dentist, and so I had to change jobs, which was fine, but changed jobs and went through a devastating divorce and moved twice and got remarried, literally all within a year. And my mask of hiding all of the shame and just trying to keep everything down at that stage of the game revealed itself as in an ugly way as bulimia. And that was still running, as my savior, but also bulimia. It was just trying to shove down all of those emotions through my 30s. So I really did not drink too much in my 30s. And at 41, my second marriage dissolved. And I believed that I had failed my faith and my family and my children all over again. And there is when I do remember very distinctly when alcohol I traded the eating disorder for the wine, and the wine really would wash over me and become that my new scarlet letter, so to speak, and just that regret of the shame and everything, it just all shifted. And especially at one occasion, I had gone out with my girlfriends, and which was all fine and good, and was at home. And I had never drank at home alone before, but I opened up a bottle of wine and had a glass of wine by myself. And it was just that sneaky, innocent start of a very slippery slope. And it was, it was more so because my kids had all gone to activities. They were getting older, and the home was quiet. And to me, having a noisy, joy-filled home gave me a sense of joy and connection, and just that quietness and that loneliness. So yeah, I still was able to get up in the morning and work out and take my vitamins and do my devotions and do all those kind of things, but make sure the family was all taken care of, and go to a job that I absolutely loved. And but on Sunday mornings, I know when I would attend church, I would sing songs of worship. And I just went with just a mixed sense of guilt and discomfort, but comfort. It was like I walked in with my suitcase full of sins and disappointments in myself, and that was all brought on myself. And I would still be training for marathons, and I read something crazy back then that, like, after a long training run, a perfect carb reload was either beer, which I wasn't a beer drinker, or like a hard lemonade. And so how foolish that was, that I thought that was going to be the fix all. And I was starting to do sneaky things like hiding wine behind, putting it in a coffee cup and hiding it behind my coffee cup and in my own home. Or I would stop off to work and make sure that I had like the boxed wine, and then would get the bigger boxed wine and go to different locations. So there was never a pattern, which was just odd. And even in that time, I was always, even if I hadn't been drinking, it could have been during the day, I would always be like looking in my rearview mirror. Like there was no part in my life that alcohol just didn't leave me just feeling more anxious, and or my life just wasn't untouched without the fear or guilt of that on top of everything else. So it was still just, trading that glass of wine and using that as my calories. So, not eating as much to look good, and drinking the wine just was never a good look. But I was very careful, not as a perfection or a control towards other people, but more just that I didn't want to ever let my guard down. So I was very careful about, never showing as though I had been drinking out in public or anything. Just that cognitive dissonance was just so deafening to me. Your body would start to send me messages at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and I'd be looking at the clock thinking, oh my goodness, I can't have my wine till 4 or 5, and just, would get something before an event at work and throw it away at different trash cans. And I wouldn't drink before work, but before I had to go to something after work, to clarify. But yeah, so at 44, I met I met him at 41, but at 44, I married Mr. Right. And I never liked the story of how my husband said we met. And I have just so learned the power of vulnerability and being able to share your story. And I will no longer allow shame to keep me hidden. So we met in a restaurant bar. I was there with a friend, and he had come in after work with a buddy of his, and just to grab something to eat. And somebody had bought her and I vodka shots, and they were lined up in front of us, and we had no intentions of drinking them. But my husband had sat down next, or soon to be husband had sat down next to me and said, "Are you driving?" That was the first words he ever said to me, and grabbed my car keys and ordered me soda water with lime in it. And to this day, that is still my go-to drink of choice. So, and in our relationship and marriage, he introduced me to fine wines, no more boxed wines or anything like that. And it was just infused throughout our relationship. And my biggest concern when I changed my relationship with drinking was that it would change our relationship, because that was something that kept me stuck for a long time. But I really thought that that's what connected us, because we used it for date nights and all travel, all family gatherings, cooking together, all of these things. And I truly know now that alcohol creates a disconnection. And it has been such a tremendous gift that we have given each other in our relationship, that we've been able to recalibrate. And he still drinks, though we have found common values and things that we enjoy doing together. And, me removing the alcohol has just been able to give me so much more time to invest in other things that I love. So it's been so good. So, I guess I can go to, I didn't have a rock bottom, but I would call my rock bottom happening in a rocking chair. And my revelation was while rocking my precious grandson, my first grandson. And I had inherited a old crickety rocking chair that creaks like my bones. And it was from my grandmother to my mother to me. And I was rocking my sweet little guy, and I had rocked away on the wooden floor away from my glass of wine. And I had this aha moment, because I'm trying to disrupt the baby to be able to grab that glass of wine. And I don't know if it was, generational trauma or revelation that I had, but at that very moment, I thought this is going to be my legacy. And I had that very same grandmother, was from Sweden, and she was the kindest, most gentle, wonderful woman. I cannot say enough good things about her, though I do not have a memory of her not smelling of alcohol. And she would keep wine behind the shower curtain, underneath the bathroom sinks. And And it was like, I don't want that to be my grandchildren's memory. And I have a choice right now and to make a difference. So I knew that I was pushing my limits. I was starting to sneak and hide. And I was just on that, you know, slippery slope, and it was quickly becoming a free fall, and it was only a matter of time. So, you know, my life was so full with so many good things, and I've been able to do so many amazing things, but I felt so empty. And I think I was finally at a place, being in a better place, that I was able to face all of those things. And that is one of the greatest gifts of being able to remove alcohol, for sure.
That's amazing. That's so wonderful. And how have you found sort of social life?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, meeting one of my friends tonight, we're getting together, and the social life in general has actually expanded, and I still have the same core group of friends. It's also broadened. Wonderful community that you've had, and through the coaching program and that opportunity, I have friends from around the world, and a very best friend that we're running a program together. So I look at it as being expansive, and not only that is not only in the quantity, I would say, but in the quality of the friendships. I remember after my girlfriends and I had unfortunately had gone to a funeral to get together, and we were locked in the car, and I had known them for 25 years and hadn't shared really all of me. And we were sitting in the car, and I said, I've got something I've got to tell you. And I just, told them kind of my story, and they loved me all the way through it. And it didn't change our relationship. You know what it did? It gave it greater depth. And that's one of the beauties of all of this, for sure.
Oh, I love that so much.
Mhm.
And so it for sure brought you closer to your friends and to your husband. And
Yes.
what else has kind of changed and got better?
Well, I would say my relationship with myself. I mean, if you look at the 5, love languages, I really was able to love myself. And also, one of the most beautiful things is not only having kind of the scales removed from your own eyes, but also seeing that light in somebody else's eyes, and just keeping secrets hidden, or things hidden. It's not that what someone has done or what has been done to them. It is the meaning that we give to it. And so I was giving all of these untruths to the story about who I was. And that for sure has been just such a blessing, for sure. And truly, I have found more peace in really facing my shame and letting the healing light come into all of my broken places. And I can be, spiritually authentic, but more so than any false or pretend wholeness that I ever did before. And it has such a positive impact on me, and truly for the rest of my family. And thank you once again for the generations to come, and the information that you have for the youth and the young ones. I mean, what just a profound difference that's going to make.
So great. And then, so what prompted you to kind of take the next step?
To take the next step when with the coaching certification, that is another good story. So I feel like as a dental hygienist and working full time, I would always tell my patients, they come in with feeling like guilt or fear or discomfort or shame. And, the eyes might be a window to the soul, but the mouth is a window to the rest of the body. And you can see where people are holding pain. And I would always tell them, literally, I will wipe your slate clean, remove the stain and give you a shine. patients were always coming to me, and we were so much more than just the hygienist, right? You would be able to get to know them and share stories and have a relationship. And that's why I call my business Clean Slate, because I am now able to do that through alcohol and making a difference in other people's lives. And that was the next step, is joining your program. And what a profound difference, because it is the knowledge that you gain and the tools and the tactics have been amazing. So when there was like a waiting list to get into the coaching program, and I kept rechecking and checking, I apologize for whoever had to have all my emails out there. But I just am so grateful that it was so worth every bit of time and effort that it took to go through the certification. And it has been just fantastic.
Oh, I love that so much.
Mhm.
So great. So great. So, and I like your pillow with your title of your business.
Oh yeah. I also have one that has shine on it, because my big thing is like going from shame to shine. And that's through like, BJ Fogg's research and, Dr. Amen with those certifications that I have, and just all of the good things. And I think another one is Barbara Erickson, when you're talking about on like your day 2, it's not what you give up, it's what you gain. I mean, it's just so powerful.
That's just awesome. Well, it's been so great. So let me ask you the 2 questions, which are, first of all, where can people find you should they want to learn more about you and your coaching?
Okay, that's with mycleanslatecoaching.com.
That's awesome. And we'll put that in the show notes too,
Oh.
which will be great. And you focus like very, like who would be a good fit for you?
Yeah, so the program that I'm running with a fellow coach is for Christian women. That's, kind of, we know that there were other women out there that were in church on Sunday mornings, and we're more in that gray area drinking. Though I have had clients from, 40 to, well into their 60s and 70s. So, and actually had, a male client as well. So yeah.
That's great. And then Suzanne, so if you were going to go back in time and, talk to your past self about sort of what your life is looking like now, what would you tell her?
Well, I would tell that innocent child that needed safety and protection and the sense of belonging, that she was loved regardless of what has been done to her or what she has been done. And your mistakes do not determine your worth or define your character. And you're valuable and worthy and deserve love just as you are. And you do not need to run or numb or hide from your loss of innocence, and just find peace in my loving arms. I mean, love your older self, and you're going to grow up to use the mess as a message, and you'll become a courageous woman who will make hard but brave decisions to step out of the chaos towards out of the chaos of shame, really towards health and honesty, and you are enough. And I truly believe, and I have seen it, that when people are cherished and treated with tenderness, that they can change, and tenderness and strength can coexist. Soft heart, but a strong back, and we are just so much more resilient than we think we are.
Oh, I love that. That's just amazing. So good. I love your mess becomes your message. And it's so true. Like, be open and vulnerable and soft, but also strong. So it's just
being able to, like, I had a neat experience with one of the fellow coaches in the program through our training. And we really didn't have a lot in common, except that I just felt drawn to say, hey, can I share with you? And can we do some coaching back and forth? And I was able to sit down and just on my own, I kind of wrote out a timeline of my my life, so to speak, and sitting down and having somebody that was just listening. And I was able to go through and look at the miracles, is what I would call them, or just blessings of things that happened in my life that may have been challenging, but that I was able to overcome. And that was the most memorable experience that I've ever had. And I thank her for that daily. And it's so awesome to be able to do that for somebody else, for sure. I mean, the coaching experience was like before I was, you're just trying to figure things out on the own, keeping everything healthy and happy on the outside. But I felt like I was in a rowboat, like throwing water out of the side, like trying to bail water out. And coaching was like literally a jet plane out of pain. And it was so quick. And it doesn't mean that there isn't things still going on, but just finding that healing comfort and that safety, because to me, I was always concerned about anything showing, like if I was signing up for something, what was that going to mean? And it's safe and it's comfortable, and, it's okay to embrace uncertainty. We can figure it out and, remove the clutter of shame and just feel so much better.
That's just awesome. I love that so much. Oh, just great. Well, thank you so very much for coming on and sharing your story with us. It was just awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Have you tried the alcohol experiment? Okay, if not, drop everything and go to thisnakedmind.com/experiment. This free 30-day challenge is designed to interrupt your patterns and put you back in touch with the best version of you. You remember it was that version of you that's living your most joyful life, the version that doesn't need alcohol to relax or to have a good time and is having more fun than ever. And again, this is a totally free challenge that will change everything for you. So learn more and join me 100% free at thisnakedmind.com/experiment. And as always, rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, as it truly helps the message reach somebody who might need to hear it today.